Thank you, Clary. In getting to know Helen Creighton, which has been part of this journey for us here at the Archives, we quickly came to recognize the importance of family to Helen. In both her work and her personal life, her family was at the center of what inspired and supported her constantly. Helen's family, represented by Mickey's Inc., has been that same support and inspiration for us here at the Archives throughout this project. I would like to invite Mickey to come to the podium to say a few words.
That's not working, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know me, my name is Mickey Zink. Helen Creighton is my great aunt and godmother, and I'm honored to be the trustee of the Helen Creighton Royalties Trust and a board member of the Helen Creighton Folklore Society. Today I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Nova Scotia Archives staff for their exceptional dedication in bringing the Helen Creighton collection into the digital age. Aunt Helen's mission was to ensure our heritage endured. She collected the materials to be shared and remembered by future generations and not fade into obscurity. And the Nova Scotia Archives team has wholeheartedly embraced this vision. By digitizing her collection, they've made sure her legacy lives on, accessible to all. On behalf of the Creighton family, I wish to convey our sincere appreciation for their hard work and commitment. Thank you to the Archives staff and volunteers and the tradition bearers. Aunt Helen's collection at the Nova Scotia Archives has found a new home in the modern world, bridging the past with the future and preserving our heritage for generations to come. Bravo.
Thank you, Mickey. As you have already heard, this has been an archival journey, the starting point of which was the realization that with many of the recording formats deteriorating significantly and types of playback equipment slipping into extinction, the songs, stories, and cultural elements that Helen worked to preserve were about to experience a second loss. Not dissimilar to the passing away of tradition and knowledge bearers in communities, the passing away of these recordings would similarly result in loss and silence. With preservation at the forefront of our thinking, we had the recordings digitized, thus ensuring that they would continue to exist. But existence isn't always the same thing as living. For several decades now, people have sporadically referenced and used portions of these recordings, even in their original formats. They had almost become the stuff of folklore themselves, with people saying things like, "I heard you have the Helen Creighton recordings over there." From preservation, we challenged ourselves with the support and friendship of Clary and Mickey to focus on access. How do we make these materials accessible to everyone, everywhere? How do we promote it, especially in the many communities from which it came? That was a much longer road. In retrospect, digitization was the easy part. The digitized recordings had to be prepared for use via our website. To allow users of the resource to find a specific track, the recordings had to be time-stamped. The time-stamping activity is something that many of you in this room probably had a hand in, as many members of the Folklore Society took this on as a COVID lockdown project. In the end, it was Clary himself who was the lead contributor and even added additional notes as he worked his way tirelessly through the time-stamping of the majority of the recordings. In some ways, the most important part of the post-digitization activity was reconnecting the recordings with Helen's field notes, photographs, and other materials to place them back in the context in which they were originally collected. This return of context, along with increased accessibility, is what we believe we have achieved with this resource. It is our hope that it will be embraced and used by many, so that it will not just exist, but also live. We are celebrating this evening. As part of that, we will have music, even more music, and the opportunity for people to come together and share stories, reminiscences, and maybe find inspiration for new work. As I have said, this project was a long time coming, and in that time, our collaborators have become even closer friends. To Clary and Mickey, we offer our thanks for your openness and constant support. To John Stone and the other members of the Helen Creighton Folklore Society, thank you for both your help and your patience, as it took time, far more time than we thought it would, to get this right. I am the person who gets to stand up here and proudly represent Nova Scotia Archives. But I can only do that because of the incredible team of people who I have the pleasure of working with every day. Your dedication, creativity, and drive to always do better is a gift. I am often heard to describe us as small but mighty. We are small in number, but mighty in how we pull together toward a common goal. Every member of this small staff team contributes in some way when we do a project and launch like this. Even if you don't have a hand directly in building the resource or in preparing for the event, you are covering other tasks for someone else so that they can be freed up to help. While I try to say thank you on a daily basis, I appreciate having a public opportunity like this to acknowledge with great gratitude everything that you have all given towards this project and that you give to the archives daily. Thank you. And now, I invite you to enjoy the music that's going to happen in the gallery space, the refreshments that are surrounding you in the lobby and in this room, and to take the time to explore the resource on one of the terminals that we have set up for this evening. There are also bookmarks available all over the place that have the URL for the resource on it. So please make sure you take one of these with you so that you can continue your exploration of the resource at home. Thank you all very much and enjoy your evening.
And a tailor mend his cloak to me and kitty come Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Bop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come Kaimo. And what's the next verse? I'm at a loss. Blah, 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 blah.
Taylor sat mending his cloak.
No, I don't know. Can I have the book, please? I wasn't prepared for this. Yes, and Cindy, bring me the book. Well, she probably doesn't even know what's in it. Normally, we have another person who does the lead in this song, and I just sing dramatically glorious harmonies. And so I get to do dramatically glorious harmonies to no lead.
We'll go right to the
We're going to start again. Carrion crow sat on an oak, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Watching a tailor mend his cloak, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come, Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Pop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Bring me my arrow and my bow, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. So I might shoot that carrion crow, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Bop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come, Kaimo. The old man fired, he missed his mark, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. He shot the old sow through the heart, to the income, kitty come, Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come, Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Bop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Bring me some lasses in a spoon, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. So I might heal that old sow's wound, to me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come, Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Bop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come, Kaimo. So now the old sow's dead and gone. To me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Her little ones go waddling on. To me and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come, Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Bop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Kaimanero, kitty come, Kiro, Kaimanero, Kaimo. Bop, 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 Billy, Illy, and come, kitty come, Kaimo. Carrion crow. Thank you for your patience while I got the book.
What song? I don't know, the Ghost and the Fisherman. Or you could do Swing Your Tail.
Yeah, okay, I know that.
Okay.
No.
No. We'll bring it anyway. Bring it anyway. It's marketing.
What are we doing? A shanty?
We're gonna do Swing Your Tail.
Oh, cool.
Helen Creighton collected quite a few sea shanties, that is, work songs of the sea. There's actually a whole double CD of those, if you care to look it up and research. There is one called Swing Your Tail. When you anchor in any kind of a tidal flow, if you're not at the dock and you're out at an anchorage, the tide comes in, the tide goes out, and the ship will swing about. Yes, twice a day. The ship will swing about. And the whole substance of this song is that you should mind how you swing your tail.
Otherwise, that happens.
Exactly. Swing your tail and a swing your tail. Mind how you swing your tail. Swing last night and the night before. Mind how you swing your tail. Well, one day the blackbird said to the crow, mind how you swing your tail. What what makes you love your farmer so? Mind how you swing your tail. Well, that's my trade since I've been born. Mind how you swing your tail. A scratching and a digging up the farmer's corn. Mind how you swing your tail. Sing and heave and sing. Mind how you swing your tail. Heave and make them handspikes spring. Mind how you swing your tail. And when we gets to the Liverpool docks, mind how you swing your tail. Them pretty little girls will come in flocks. Mind how you swing your tail. And one to the other you'll hear 'em say, mind how you swing your tail. Here comes Johnny with 2 years' pay. Mind how you swing your tail. So now our payday soon will come. Mind how you swing your tail. Up Paradise Street we'll have such fun. Mind how you swing your tail. Swing your tail in the after hold. Mind how you swing your tail. Swing last night and the night before. Mind how you swing your tail. Mind how you swing your tail.
I just want to know if there's anybody here from the Gallagher family? The Gallaghers? Okay.
Are you gonna do your thing?
You gonna introduce Jay to this?
Oh, yeah, Jay, would you like to do the ghostly sailors?
Well, if you want.
I would love you to do the ghostly sailors. I'm going to read a little bit from Helen's Blue Nose Ghosts because it's going to set up a song, and this is really cool. One of the best-known stories of haunted ships is that of the sailing vessel, the Charles Haskell. Its strange story made such an impression at the time that a song was made up about it. And to this day, it's sung in many ports all over the Maritime provinces and the New England states. 2 men from Lockport, Nova Scotia, and 1 from Lunenburg were in her crew, and the rest were Gloucester men. And this is her story, according to an account from the Boston Globe at that time, and shown to me being Helen Creighton, in a scrapbook at Annapolis Royal, where the vessel was well known later on. The Charles Haskell, a fine new vessel, sailed out of Boston and was one of 300 anchored on George's Bank on March 7, 1866. A hurricane and blinding storms set in. Vessels were huddled together and were torn from their anchorage. And during the hurricane, all hands, of course, were on the deck. At 1 o'clock at night, one of the other ships, a schooner, got adrift and out of control. And she was like a runaway and was being hurled by the storm directly towards the Haskell. In order to save herself, the Haskell's ropes were cut. And then she was so storm-driven that then she was completely at the mercy of the wind. Another craft lay directly in her path, and she ran through it like a cheese, standing the shock herself without losing a rope yarn. Thus, the Charles Haskell unwittingly transferred to the Andrew Jackson of Salem what would have been her fate. In time, the Charles Haskell returned to the same fishing grounds. Then a very strange thing happened, and all the crew testified that it was true. For when they sailed over the place where they had rammed the Andrew Jackson, the crew of that schooner came right up over the sides in their oilskins and manned the Haskell. After that, the Haskell became known as the ghost vessel, and the owners were never able to obtain a crew.
You may all smile if you want to, but perhaps you'll lend an ear, for it's men and boys together. Well, on for 50 years I've sailed upon the ocean in summer's pleasant days, and through the stormy winter when the howling winds did rage. There I've seen times, I tell you, when things looked rather blue, but somehow I was always quite lucky and got through. I will not brag, however, I won't say much, but then I am not much easier frightened than most of other men. Well, that night as we were sailing, we were offshore a ways. I never will forget it in all my mortal days. 'Twas in the grand dog watches I felt a thrilling dread come over me, as if I heard one calling from the dead. Well, right over our rail there clambered, all silent, one by one, a dozen dripping sailors. Just wait till I have done. Their faces were pale and sea-wan shone through the ghostly night. Each fellow took his station as if he had the right. Well, they moved about before us till land was most in sight, or rather I should say so, the lighthouse shone its light. And then those ghostly sailors moved to the rail again and vanished in an instant before the sons of men. Well, we sailed right in the harbor, and every mother's son will tell you the same story, the same as I have done. The trip before the other, we were on George's then. We ran down another vessel, and we sank her and her men. And those were the same poor fellows, I hope God rest their souls, that on our old craft we ran over and sank on George's shoals. Well, now you've heard my story, it is just as I say. I do believe in spirits until this very day.
We are recognizing our Acadian heritage today, and we're tremendously pleased to have a longtime supporter of our society here with us this evening, Yvette Donfremont. Bienvenue.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here, and I know my grand-mère Laurie Wren McNeil, who was a potier, and she was a great contributor to Helen's Acadian part of her collection. Everyone, the older folks from home, remember Helen coming around with all her recording devices, this lady coming around to record all the songs and the stories from the tradition bearers, as we call them. And as of late, I am now a grandmother. And when I was younger, of course, my mom used to sing the lullaby that Grand-mère Laurie Wren sang. I have since sung it to my granddaughter. I'm sorry. I just recently sang it in France. I've just been back from an Acadian week in Normandy, where I sang the lullaby that Grand-mère has in the collection, in Helen Creighton's collection, and I will sing that to you. Dor, dor, petit bibi, c'est le beau petit bibi à maman. Dor, 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 dor le beau petit bibi à maman. Demain s'il fait beau, j'irai sur grand-mère. Dors, dors le petit bibi. Dors, 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 dors. Dors le beau petit bibi à maman. Thank you. just a little added note. That lullaby, Dor Dorp TBB, Sleep My Baby, the mothers would, of course, the intention is getting your baby to go to sleep, but of course, the mothers, without interrupting this whole rocking motion, would just invent the words as they came to their head. So that's how this one works. Thank you, Clary and Sharon. Thank you for inviting us here. This is very special. I know my mom would have loved this if she was here. And this collection is going to be fantastic to access for everybody. Thank you so much.
I first have to ask if anybody is here from the Gallagher family. Is anybody here from the Gallagher family? No? Early one morning in spring, to hear the birds whistle and nightingales sing, I spied a fair damsel who sweetly did sing, I'm going to be married on Monday morning. Monday morning, Monday morning, I'm going to be married on Monday morning. Monday morning, Monday morning, I'm going to be married on Monday morning. You know, I really was married on a Monday morning. Yes. I, Catherine Marion Scott Gallagher, was married to my Ed on a Monday morning on November 27th, 1928. Yes. The same date as my dear parents in 1874. And I was so thrilled to get married at the same date as my parents, but it's interesting because I almost didn't get married because of the fire. My dear parents, God rest their souls, they weren't dead more than 2 years when their house caught on fire with their 2 bachelor sons inside. But luckily they escaped, but not so my wedding trousseau. Nope, the sheets, the towels, the tablecloths, the napkins, all the linens, and my wedding clothes, all burnt to a crisp in the fire. But luckily, I had a sister in the Boston States, and she was a seamstress, so I quickly went down to visit her, and we sewed and we sewed and we sewed and we sewed, and pretty soon we had our my own trousseau remade and ready to go, ready to be married. And it took months to do that, and poor Ed, well, he was back home, but he was very patiently waiting for me. And I have to say that I really missed dear Ed. I missed his laughter, I missed his stories, and I missed dancing with him. I loved singing that song. Oh, I sung that song today on the radio, on the CBC radio. Oh, I was so thrilled all over. Me, Mrs. Edward Gallagher, sang on the radio. Yeah, it was very exciting. I sang alongside the professionals, and I got paid the same as the professionals, a whole $10. But you know, it was all because of Helen Creighton. I remember that day about 2 years ago. It was a Saturday in August of 1936 when Helen Creighton and Doreen Sr. came to the lighthouse, Shabukto Head Lighthouse, my home, at the head of Halifax Harbor. And they came and they were looking for ballads and some of the old songs, and they asked if I knew songs with milk-white steeds in them or with songs with broken rings. And I said, well, my mother taught me some of those lovelies. I could sing you one now. I know the 7 Long Years song, which is a broken ring song. They were very excited. And so I said to them, the only problem is that it's a Saturday and I got to scrub my kitchen floor because company comes on Sunday. They always come on Sunday. And I have to get my work done, but I can sing you that song while I'm scrubbing my floor. So I mopped my floor and I sang this song. As a sailor walked all in a garden, a fair young maiden I chanced to spy. It was for to view her, he stepped up to her and said, young lady, can you fancy I? Oh, fancy you a man of honor, a maid of honor I'll ever be, for I am waiting for a sailor whose home is far across the sea. It's 7 years since my love has left me, and 7 years since I did him see. Another 7, I'll wait upon him. Perhaps he'll come back and marry me. What if your lover, well, he is married and is enjoying wedded bliss? What if your love, he is dead and buried? The cruel ocean lies o'er his breast. Well, if he's married, I hope he's happy. And if he's dead, well, I wish him rest. But it is for his sake I'll never marry. The reason why is I love him best. What if I be your single sailor, the one you don't expect me to be? What if I be your own true lover, who has come back for to marry thee? Well, if you be my single sailor, the one I don't expect you to be, show me the ring that was broke between us, and when I see it, I will believe. He put his hand all in his bosom, his fingers being both brown and small. He pulled out the token, between them broken, and when she saw it, she down did fall. He picked her up all in his arms and said, fair lady, I'm none the worse, for I have plenty of gold and silver. The cruel ocean I'll never more cross. Is such a romantic song. Can you imagine being a teenager and your young man goes off to sea and he's gone so long that, well, you would have changed in appearance. I mean, the woman, she would have been, her long maiden-like hair would have been done up and put under a hat. She would have had womanly curves by now. Her hands would have been tanned from working in the garden or calloused from doing housework. And the young man, well, when he came back, he would perhaps have a beard. He would have hands that were curled and brown from pulling on the ropes. And his skin would be tanned all over. And muscles, my goodness, he would have muscles. But you know, it's no wonder they didn't recognize each other. And sometimes the sailors didn't come back at all. Like in the war over 20 years ago, so many did not return. You know, life is so unexpected and unpredictable, both happy and sad. Come all ye old comrades, come now let us join. Come blend your sweet voices in chorus with mine. We'll drink and be merry again. Oh my goodness, look at the time. Oh, deuce take Mrs. Grundy. I better get these clothes put away and my house dress put on and my apron, because Max, Ed, I forgot my husband's name. My goodness. Ed will be back pretty soon from the Foghorn building. But my boys, my dear boys, will be with him. My dear boys, Don and Max and Babs. So, you know what? I think I'd better go and rustle up some cookies for their bread lunch.
We've got a couple of our stalwart supporters of Helen Creighton Folklore Society that came to us today all the way from River John. David Farrell. I guess the Strange Valentines is what you guys are known by. Should I really read the blurb I have here? Janet Mills and David Farrell, also known as the Strange Valentines, have recorded a lot of Helen Creighton's material. So with a little luck, maybe they're going to share some of it tonight. But anyway, let's welcome David and Janet and the Strange Valentines.
Thanks, John. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a very exciting night. This is our version of Lady Isabel and the Elf Knight, and we took it from Helen Creighton's collection. I believe it was Dennis Smith that sang it as the version we chose, and I think he's mentioned here. Even his picture somewhere I saw, so you can find him. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, this is our version.
'Twas a youth and a well-bred youth, the esquire's son. He courted an innkeeper's daughter, belonged to North Cumberland, belonged to North Cumberland. He courted part of the summer season, and part of the winter courted he. And all that he courted this fair lady for was to take her sweet life away, to take her sweet life away. Oh, give me half of your father's gold and part of your mother's fee. Oh, we will away to a foreign country, and married we will be. Married we will be. Well, she went down to the stable door, stood horses 33. She mounted a milk-white steed, and he on a silvery gray. He on a silvery gray. She mounted that milk-white steed, and he rode the fast-traveling gray. They rode till they came to a riverside, 3 hours before it was day. 3 hours before it was day. A light, my pretty fair maid. A light, cried he. 6 pretty maids I have drowned here, and the 7th you shall be, the 7th you shall be. Strip off your silken clothes and lie them on the green, for I do think your clothes are too gay for to sink in the watery stream, for to to sink in the watery stream. Well, if I strip off my silken clothes and lie them on the green, well, I do think it is a great shame for a naked woman to be seen, a naked woman to be seen. Well, he agreed to turn his back, she bitterly did weep. With all of the strength this fair lady had, she shoved him into the brink. She shoved him into the brink. I'll sink or swim, you false-hearted man, I think you have your doom. And I do think your clothes are too gay for to sink in your watery tomb, to sink in your watery tomb. Then she mounted that milk-white steed and led the silvery gray. She rode till she came to her father's house, an hour before it was day, an hour before it was day. The parrot up in the window, I cried, where have you been, cried he? I've been away to Scotland's bridge, young Henry is under the sea, Henry is under the sea. Don't prattle, my pretty Polly dear, don't tell no tales on me. Your cage shall be made of the finest gold and hung on an ivory tree, hung on an ivory tree. That one's got the milk white steed in it, of course, and some. This next one that we thought we'd try is one from the tradition bearer who contributed so much, so many songs, as many of them did, to Helen's collection, Ben Hannenberry. And he's on the wall here somewhere too. And this one is called Lord Randall. And apparently, from what I understand, Lord Randall was, I think he was Thomas Randall, and he was the nephew of Robert the Bruce, and he was poisoned. And this song came out of that. Now, it's interesting because this song, as sung by Mr. Ben Hannenberry, speaks of Henry. And I didn't really understand that, but I think over time, there was another story of King Henry I also being poisoned, and it may have sort of evolved as some of these songs do. But it goes back far. So think of all that history. This is called Lord Randall. What is the matter, oh Henry, my son? What is the matter, my own dearest one? I've been to my sweetheart mother, make my bed soon. I feel sick in the heart, and I fain will lie down. What did she give you, oh Henry, my son? What did she give you, my own dearest one? She gave me little fishes, mother, make my bed soon. I feel sick in the heart, and I I fain will lie down. What will you wait for, dear old Henry, my son? What will you wait for, dear my home, dearest one? I land and my houses, mother, make my bed soon. I feel sick in the heart, and I fain will lie down. What will you, sister, oh Henry, my son? What will you, sister, my own dearest one? My sheep and my cattle, mother, make my bed soon. I feel sick in the heart, and I fain will lie down. What will you, brother, oh Henry, my son? What will you, brother, my own dearest one? My horse and my saddle, mother, make my bed soon. I feel sick in the heart, and I fain will lie down. What will you, sweetheart, oh Henry, my son? What will you, sweetheart, my own dearest one? A rope for to hang on yonder great tree. It was poison she gave me and betrayed you and me. I feel sick in the heart, and I fain will lie down. Thank you. These are so fun, these old songs. I feel like these songs have such a connection to the past. I almost feel like I could be in the room with the people that sang them, the people that lived the life that, you know, these ballads were a part of their lives. And I'd love to know them. So it feels a little bit like connecting with those people, I think. This is the last one I think we're gonna do, and then hopefully we have lots more music coming up. But this one is called Hindhorn. It's part of a huge story. I believe it comes from the 13th century. And I can't remember the lady that sang it for Helen. It's just evading me, but it's a lovely song. It's a bit of a romantic song, and it's about a ring and it's another ring story that, well, you'll see what happens. If the ring gets pale and worn, then she's with somebody else, and he's got to come back and figure it all out. Hindhorn. Sorry, wrong key. We never do that song after that song. Where were you bred and where were you born? In old Scotland I was bred and born. I am going away, I leave you, do not mourn, until the day I may return. Here is a ring, a token of love, a token of love, be it old or new. And when this ring is getting pale and worn, you'll know I with some other one. He sailed away far across the sea. He sailed till he came to a foreign country. He looked at the ring, at him pale and warm, and he knew she was with some other one. Well, back to his home quickly sailed he. He sailed till he came to his own country. The first one he met when he came on land was but a poor old beggar man. What news, old man, cried he. What news have you got, old man, for me? Bad news, the beggar man said. Tomorrow is your love's wedding day. Well, give to me your suit and ring, and I'll give to you my clothes and steed. And I will beg from door to hand. There's nothing but the best from the young bride's hand. Well, he begged from Peter and he begged from Paul. He begged from the highest to the lowest of them all, until he came to his true love's gate. And he stood on the steps and leaned on the gate. Soon a fair maiden came tripping down the stairs, rings on her fingers, gold in her ears, a glass of wine in her right hand. She gave it to the poor old beggar man. Well, out of the glass he drank the wine, into the glass he dropped the ring. She said, where did you get it, on sea or on land? Or did you take it off some dead man's hand? Well, I did not get it on sea or on land. I did not take it off a dead man's hand. It's a token of love when we courted so gay. Now I return it on your wedding day. Well, rings from her finger she did pull off, gold from her ears she did let fall, saying, Willie, I will love you forever, evermore. Oh, we might have to beg from door to door. Between the kitchen and the hall, Willie let the poor beggar's suit then fall. His clothes and steel shone beyond them all. He was the finest looking young man in the hall. Early in the morning, just to break of day, They both went to church, made no delay. Now they are married, living hand in hand. And no more is he called the old beggar man. No more is he called the old beggar man. Thank you.
Janet Mills and David Farrell, the Strange Valentines. Our next singer carries the tradition of the Miramichi. Not that many years ago, and nobody here can claim this, she introduced the traditions of maritime music to none other than the couple who are now King Charles and Queen Camilla. Welcome, Melanie Ross Breen.
Well, I thank you very much. John asked me to sing a little at the last minute, and I was at a sea shanty festival all weekend, so as you can imagine, I said, can I go into the washroom and check and see if I have a voice first? So I have a little bit of a voice. But I'm going to sing a song that I heard when I was 16 years old at the Miramichi Folk Song Festival, sung by our very own friend, Clary Croft, who is a friend to all, and I gave him a big compliment in speaking with someone saying, even when you feel you're very inept at something, Clary makes you feel like you are marvelous. Isn't that true? And that song, that 16-year-old girl, that was almost 40 years ago when I heard this song, and I was captivated by it. And since I've sung this song in many places around the world, including Ireland, and I sang this song one night, and a couple came over and said, we haven't heard that song in 40 years. And just recently at the Sea Shanty Festival, I heard it by another couple by the name, Julia and Fred from a group called Castle Bay, and it was so fascinating. Their version is from Maine, and it's from the male perspective, and it was completely, some of the things were the same, and the chorus was almost the same, but it really goes to show how important it is that Helen collected these songs in the form that they were. And it was Judson and Alistair Armstrong in the New Ross area that originally sang this song for Helen. So we'll give it a go, see if I have a voice left. I once knew a maiden whose fortune was so, fell in love with a sailor, a young sailor boy. She courted him duly by night and by day, till at length this young sailor, he sailed miles away. I know you know it. Then if I were a blackbird, I'd whistle and sing. I would follow the ship that my true love sailed in, and on the top rigging I'd there build my nest, and I flutter my wings o'er his lily white breast. Now my true love is handsome in every degree. My parents despise him because he loves me. But let them despise him or say what they will. Well, there's life in my bosom. I love that lad still. Then if I were a blackbird, I'd whistle, I'd sing. I would follow the ship that my true love sailed in, and on the top rigging I'd there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er his lily white breast. Now if I were a scholar, could handle a pen, one long loving letter unto him I'd send. I would tell him my sorrow, my grief and my woe, and if I find him, I would crown him with gold. Then if I were a blackbird, I'd whistle and sing. I would follow the ship that my true love sails in, and on the top rigging I'd there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er his lily white breast. Thank you. Now, apparently, when Helen collected this from Judson and Alistair, they sang very, very still. They were very straight and they did not move, and I cannot imagine singing that song without moving, and you did a beautiful job. I'm going to try one more song that I sang at the Sea Shanty Festival because I was really interested. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of sea shanties about men. A lot of sea shanties about men. So this is a song of the sea collected by Helen, and I wish I could tell you who it was collected from. Maybe Claire can tell us after. But it's a song about a woman who dressed up to be a man to go to sea. And the chorus is Doralee a laddie, Doralee a lily-o. So I'm sure you can catch on. You're a very intelligent group, I can tell. So here we go. See if I can remember the words. Johnny's gone a sailing with trouble on his mind, for a leaving of his country and his darling girl behind. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. I'll give you a go. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. Before you get on board, sir, your name I'd like to know. With a smile upon her countenance, she answered, John Monroe. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. Your waist it is quite slender, your fingers they are small, and your cheeks they are too rosy for to face a cannonball. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. My waist it is quite slender, my fingers they are small, but I'll never faint nor falter should 10,000 round me fall. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. Well, I am not your daughter, her name I do not know, for I've just come from the battlefield, my name is Jack Monroe. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. Doralee, a laddie, Doralee, my lily-o. And we always end the song in a Miramichi with a hoop. Ah-ooh! Thank you very much.
Melanie is now the director of the Miramichi Folk Song Festival, the oldest folk song festival in the nation. I'm chuffed because we have two very, very special guests with us tonight. One I just found out was here with us, and another is a longtime friend. But first of all, I'd like to have you acknowledge, is he sitting there? Oh, there he is, way in the back there. Eddie Dornan. Eddie Dornan. Wave to us, Eddie. Yeah. So, you're very welcome. And I have to tell you, Eddie Dornan is in the Creighton collection. Go there and look him up. He's singing with his father, Angelo Dornan. If you would permit me, I would like to sing one of your father's songs. Oh, I would love to do that. It's one of my favorite all-time songs. Angelo Dornan was the man responsible for the vast percentage of the songs existed in Helen Creighton's Folk Songs of Southern New Brunswick. He was a wonderful singer. Helen stayed with his family. Eddie probably can corner him someplace and he can tell you stories of when Helen came and stayed with the family. But this, I think, is one of the most beautiful songs in Helen's collection. And Eddie, I'd like to dedicate it to you. And I'm just thrilled that you drove all the way from Prince Edward Island to come over here to this event. When I wake in the morning, I go to my window. I take a long look o'er the place that I know. I'm surrounded by sorrow. Will I never see tomorrow? Oh, Jimmy, lovely Jimmy, if you knew what I know. When the boys come to court me, they all say they love me. But I, like a hero, I do them disdain. My love's gone and left me, no other man shall get me. And I never will marry till he comes back again. Thank you, Eddie, and thank you for coming all the way from Prince Edward Island. Now, did you want to?
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Super good. Very welcome. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
You want to sing a song?
No.
Well, the other person I want to introduce you to, I've been getting a lot of kudos here today, and I stand on some pretty big shoulders. And one of those shoulders that I stand on is my friend Kay Potty. I first knew her when she was Kay Dimmick. She worked directly with Helen Creighton. She sang in a folk group that Helen Creighton assembled. They went to Ottawa for the centennial. Not only that, but when Kay came back to this area, she became the director of music for the Halifax School of Music Department. And through her efforts and music teachers like Martha Healy and Joyce Pierce and Reet Vink, they kept the Helen Creighton repertoire alive in the school system. And Kay is a wonderful singer herself. We've had some good parties down the years, I can remember too. But I think she also has a partner in crime. I think her partner Brian is going to sing the song with her. So if you would please welcome Kay and Brian.
Thank you, Clary. One of the greatest pleasures in my life was doing some illustrated lectures with Helen, and she would introduce the songs and tell the background, and then I would sing, and Clary did too, and some of my other colleagues, and so it was wonderful that rapport that we had, and just working with her, and I count it as one of my pleasures in this life, and that was 50 plus years ago. So anyway, I'm going to sing one of the songs that she always wanted me to sing in one of her lectures, and I think it came from Mrs. Ward in Wolfville. And she had an English background, so it was the background of the song is English, and anyway, it's a very serious song, and my husband is going to come in on the chorus, and then you can come in on the chorus if you feel like it. Timmy, 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 okay, here we go. My grandma lived on yonder little green, as fine an old lady as ever was seen, but she often cautioned me with care of all false young men to beware. Timmy-I, Timmy-I, Timmy-umpa-tumpa-ta, of all false young men to beware. These false young men, they'll flatter and deceive, and so, my love, you must not believe. They'll flatter, they'll coax, till you are in their snare, and away goes poor old grandma's care. Timmy-I, Timmy-I, Timmy-umpa-tumpa-ta, and away goes poor old grandma's care. The first that came a-courting was little Johnny Green, as fine a young fellow as ever was seen. But the words of my grandma rang in my head, and I could not hear one word he said. Timmy-I, Timmy-I, Timmy-umpa-tumpa-ta, and I could not hear one word he said. The next that came a-courting was young Ellis Grove. 'Twas then we met with a joyous love. with a joyous love. I couldn't be afraid. You better get married than die an old maid. Timmy-I, Timmy-I, Timmy-umpa-tumpa-ta. You better get married than die an old maid. Thinks I to myself, there must be some mistake. What a fuss these old folk make. If the boys and the girls had all been so afraid, then Grandma herself would have died an old maid. Timmy-I, Timmy-I, Timmy-umpa-tumpa-ta. The Grandma herself would have died an old maid.
Our next singer plays a very important role in continuing Helen's tradition. Mary Knickel teaches young people and brings the traditions that Helen has collected alive and keeps them going through generations and generations. So glad she could make it here tonight. Mary Knickel. Thank you, Mary. Come on up.
Thank you. I didn't know it was open mic, and when I saw it, it's so wonderful to listen to all these songs. I grew up in them. My mother got one of the first books, and she was a singer, and she sang them to me, and I learned them. And of course, I can't think of very many. I just wanted to say that my students, some of the favorite songs were sung tonight. They love When I Wake in the Morning, and they love the one about the fly to his lily white breast. But I'm going to just do a simple song, because the song I was going to do was sung. I'm just going to do the beautiful song, because this is another one of their favorites and my favorite, Hills and Glens. The hills and glens that I love well, the rolling surf that charms me, the lake with speckled trout lie still, and all is peace around me. In summer warm and winter cold, and fog and storm and sunshine, whate'er its mood, my heart is there, and will remain for all time. The hills and glens that I love well, the rolling surf that charms me, the lake with speckled trout lie still, and all is peace around me. Thank you. I know I forgot a verse.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was wonderful. Keep those young voices going. We love to hear them.
They all have to enter the Helen Creighton class, and my hodgepodge singers all sing Helen Creighton in 2 or 3. It's the best songs for voices, young voices.
First Thursday of every month, the Helen Creighton Folklore Society hosts an event at Evergreen, Helen's house in Dartmouth, called Folk Club, Helen Creighton Folk Club. Joanne Peppers is here tonight. She keeps Evergreen running, and it's just so rewarding to be able to come and hear the music that Helen collected in Helen's house, and to hear music that she would have loved. The new music that we hear there is such a blessing for us all. But the traditions of the Helen Creighton collection are rooted so deep in the Maritimes, and certainly at sea. So
I think we're going to wind things down tonight. We're going to close with a piece that Jay Perry is going to do from the Creighton collection. This is found in various collections around the world, actually. But this version, Poor Old Man, is from the Creighton collection. Jay Perry, come on up.
This song has its origins in a much, much older sea shanty that describes a ceremonial ritual aboard ships. But the version that Helen Cree collected, she collected in 1950, the same year that Clary was born. And it has been twisted and co-opted into a modern, pre-First World War use. And it describes sort of dinner on early ships, just basically post-sailing ships. And in that era, the shipping companies would feed their crews the cheapest possible food they could get. And what meat was cheaper and more readily available at the age of the dawning of the automobile than horse meat. And so apparently they ate a lot of horse meat. And Tom Corneely says that, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. I'll sing the song first. A poor old man came a-riding by, say so, and I know so. I says, old man, your horse will die. Poor old man, and if he dies, we'll tan his hide. Say so, and I know so, and if he dies, we'll tan his skin. Poor old man. The sailors, they do me despise. Say so, and I know so. They turn me over and damn me eyes. Poor old man. Old horse, what brought you here? I say so, and I know so. You're plowed the ground for many the year. Poor old man. Till killed by blows and hard abuse. I say so, and I know so. You're salted down for sailors' use. Poor old man. The sailors, they do me despise. I say so, and I know so. They turn me over and damn me eyes. Poor old man. They eat my meat and pick my bones. I say so, and I know so. And pitch the rest to Davy Jones. Poor old man. And it's at that point on the recording, Tom Corneely explains to Helen Creighton that they would use this as a grace before and after meals that contained horse meat. And they would say, old horse, what brought you here? You're plowed the ground for many the year. Till killed by blows and hard abuse, you're salted down for sailors' use. The sailors, they do me despise. They turn me over and damn my eyes. They eat my meat and pick my bones and pitch the rest to Davy Jones. Amen.
We cannot end an evening dedicated to Helen Creighton without one song that I guarantee you all know. And I'm asking Clary to come forth and lead us in
Anybody else that wants to come up and sing too, we can have more people.
Farewell to Nova Scotia.
Than is in the room. But if you want to come up and sing, please do, because this is the backdrop.
It's on the wall behind us.
Martha, you want to come up and sing with us?
Come on,
Yeah.
Martha.
Kay, you want to come up and sing Farewell to Nova Scotia? Anybody? Pat? Everybody come up.
Everybody come up.
Yeah, the whole room come up.
This is our song.
Yeah, everybody come up. We'll form the backup here. Farewell to Nova Scotia. Now, a little background, special background on this song. You see the notation there. 1933, August the 4th, 90 years ago this year, is when Helen Creighton first sat with Anne Greenough and heard this song for the first time. And the notations were written down by her friend, Helen's friend, Doreen Sr. And at another part in the notation that they did, Doreen wrote about this song, "Interesting song, might be useful someday." There are several different versions. Sadly, Helen did not have recording equipment suitable to capture Mrs. Greenough's voice in 1933, but if you look online, there are 2 or 3 other people singing the song later on when she had it. Sometimes the melody changes a little bit, but we're just going to get into this. The sun was setting in the west, the birds were singing on every tree. All nature seemed inclined for a rest, but still there was no rest for me. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? I have 2 brothers and they are at rest. Their arms are folded on their breast. But a poor simple sailor just like me must be tossed and driven on the dark blue sea. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh and a wish for me? I grieve to leave my native land. I grieve to leave my comrades all. And my parents whom I have always held so dear, and the bonny, bonny lass that I do adore. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? The drums they do beat and the wars do alarm. The captain calls, we must obey. So farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charms, for it's early in the morning and I'm far, far away. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? I just want to tell you one other thing before we let you go. Traditional singers never sang the last line of a song again. As Cindy pointed out when she sang the Catherine Gallagher song, they spoke the last line very often. So that tagline that we do, that everybody knows, the slowing down the farewell to Nova Scotia, will you ever hear a sigh or a wish for me, was not part of the kind of collecting that Helen did. So in the 1960s, or very early 1960s, when she went down with the CBC, Mrs. Greenough was gone, but she had Freeman Young, who sang a version of it. And he was recorded, and he sang the song, and he did the tagline. And Helen went up to him afterwards, and she said, now, Free, when I was down here 20 years ago, you didn't sing it that way. And Freeman said, no, but that's the way I heard Kathleen McKinnon sing it on the television, so it must be right. So the collection continues. The collection is there for everybody. Patty, all the archive staff, all the tradition bearers who are being honored in this room, the special guests who arrived and came all the way from Pubnico and Prince Edward Island. This has just been a marvelous, marvelous event, and it's only the beginning. You will go down the rabbit hole in that sucker for years. Thank you.